Now a Target 12 Investigators exclusive, Rhode Island's Renegade.
Oh, if I'm knocking at your door at 3 in the morning, you're in trouble.
Why would you be knocking on someone's door at 3 in the morning?
If you with me during the day, and I don't prefer to call the cops, or I usually take care of my own laundry.
CJ Nordstrom is considered one of the most notorious bikers in Rhode Island. He's attracted police attention for violent brawls like this one in Bristol with members of the Hells Angels.
Now, law enforcement has been on alert in recent years over feuding biker gangs. Police are concerned that innocent bystanders could get caught in the middle of the violence.
Now, Nordstrom talks exclusively with Target 12 investigator Tim White about his life in the biker world and his relationship with major organized crime figures.
Police say 99% of bikers are law-abiding citizens. It's what they call the 1%ers that they identify as outlaws. And CJ Nordstrom has been on their radar screen for decades. The motorcycle is imposing. And so is the man who has ridden it for more than 40 years.
Yeah, I usually say it outlasted my marriage and all my girlfriends.
Carl Justice Nordstrom, known as CJ. His appearance, from tattoos declaring his status as a 1%er to his huge frame, are backed up by his reputation. Are you a magnet for that, you think? You think you attract trouble?
Sometimes, you're in that environment. I've been around 100 years. Everybody, there's guys out there wondering if they can kick your
This is one of those moments. In 2009, Target 12 obtained this security camera footage from a bar in Bristol. You're looking at a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle club walking up to Nordstrom and giving him a shove. Nordstrom suspects it was his bike.
You see my bike, you know it's CJ. You see CJ, he usually has his bike with him.
That signaled to the Hells Angels he was inside.
These guys knew I was in there. They figured they'd come in 6 strong, throw their weight around, maybe jump me, who knows,
Nordstrom quickly strikes back, dropping the Hells Angels member to the floor, and Nordstrom continues to pound away.
In the street, Tim, there's no rules, and when you want to set an example.
There's been a history of bad blood between the Hells Angels and Nordstrom, and this was not the first fight he has gotten into with a member of the notorious gang. Target 12 learned the state police kept watch on his house following the incident. Was there a concern from law enforcement that there might be retaliation from the Hells Angels?
Certainly. I mean, he laid out, almost killed a full patch member of the Hells Angels. So typically, by their bylaws and their rules, there has to be retaliation.
Nordstrom has been identified by law enforcement as an independent rogue biker, meaning he's not affiliated or a full patch member with any gang.
He decided that those clubs were beneath his dignity, and he decided to be an independent person and do what he thought he wanted to do.
In the 1980s, Nordstrom took his experience as a street fighter into the ring.
Where's the referee? Where's Martin Tabor? That can't even defend himself.
That hand has seen better days.
Yeah, it's been broken a few times.
Is that from boxing?
Most of it.
Nordstrom's promising career in the ring ended with a stint in the can, serving nearly 5 years after a violent barroom brawl in Newport in 1976, where several people were stabbed.
Like anybody else, Tim, I got 2 arms, 2 legs. I make mistakes like anybody else.
The sentence was a blow to his boxing career, but cemented his underworld legacy. Nordstrom says in his day, the 1%er title was about the custom bikes they rode.
It was nothing like you were the bad guy, you were the outlaw that broke laws.
But that's what they say you are.
Well, that's what they say today, But I'm far from that. I don't deal drugs. I don't pimp off no broads. I don't shake nobody down. I make a pay like anybody. Regular Joe Blow. Iron worker, truck driver. Used to be a bone breaker. But it was professional.
CJ tells me he had friends who were Hells Angels in other states, but they are now prevented from speaking with him because of the clashes he had with the gang here in Rhode Island. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, Eyewitness News.